All right, so David Plouffe has now done one of the first interviews a senior Harris campaign official has done, and it will come as zero surprise to any of you that he did it with the fellas from Pod Save America. The full interview will drop tomorrow, according to a post on X. But moments ago, they posted a soundbite from David Plouffe, unshaven. Here it is.
It's always worth reminding people it's really hard for Democrats to win battleground states. Let's look at Pennsylvania. 25% of the electorate is liberal, roughly. 34% is conservative. By the way, in most battleground states, that conservative number is over 40. So in every battleground state, there's more conservative than liberals. So in Pennsylvania, if X is to believe, Trump won conservatives 91.8, Harris won liberals 93.6. Moderates, Harris won 56.43, but you kind of got to win 60% of them, right? For Democrats to win battleground states, it is a false choice. You want to maximize your base, of course. And that was a place where we spent enormous time, a lot of resources. That's critical. And obviously, I think in Milwaukee, just to use that as an example, we hit our turnout targets, fell a little bit short in Philly and Detroit. So that's not good. That's part of the equation. You've got to couple that with dominating in the middle, not just winning it a little. We have to dominate the moderate vote. And I think as we look ahead to 26 and 28, particularly where you have seen drift amongst non-college voters generally, particularly those of color specifically, we obviously have to get some of that back. We can't afford any more erosion there. The math just doesn't work.
The math just doesn't work. All right, Dan, what do you think of that?
Here's the problem. Josh Shapiro won huge. John Fetterman won. Like the idea that if I listen to that, I think it's like Florida, Missouri, or Texas for Democrats, right? It's a Republican 53-47, like, no matter how good of a candidate we run, we're just always going to come up like, just short. Like, yes, like, no, duh, you got to win the middle. Like, that is not rocket science. I mean, look, he's way smarter than I am. He's run presidential campaigns. I have not, so I want to be respectful here. But that, to me, it makes it sound like we were pushing a boulder so far up a hill it was almost impossible. And I don't believe that.
That's so
Sean.
I mean, it's head in the sand. I mean, the idea, we spent an entire campaign hearing about how all these states were winnable and this wasn't an issue and they were going to take Georgia and Arizona, and now it's, Pennsylvania's so hard. I mean, I hate to say this, Plouffe is better than that. That's just, again, this gets back to the Politico Dan Ball's Washington Post story. Look in the mirror, guys. If you guys want to talk about how difficult it is to win Pennsylvania, to Dan's point, the evidence just doesn't hold up. Shapiro crushed it. Fetterman crushed it. He ran against Oz, who had a ton of money. I mean, this is not – then what's your issue in Wisconsin? What's your issue in Michigan? You called it a blue wall. And now you're saying that, like, wow, these things are really, really tough. It just doesn't add up, and they look stupid saying these things because for the whole campaign, we heard about North Carolina and Arizona, and and then we've got the blue wall as our backup, and now it's woe is me. Pennsylvania was always going to be so much trouble, and the math is just, I mean, come on.
I said this earlier today. Democrats won some big-time Midwestern House races, in addition to big-time Senate races. So why was it only a problem for her and not for other parts of the party? And I'm not talking House races in Detroit. I'm talking House races in those swing districts of the state of Michigan. I just, to Sean's point, like that is just, and all the problems that he's pointing out were being pointed out back in January when it came to Biden, and nobody did anything but drop, tens of millions of dollars on TV ads. Like nobody wanted to touch a lot of these problems because Democrats refused to believe they were really problems.